All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Amy and I am from Accessible Arts. I'm the Arts Development Manager and I am here to run the info session on Bundanon today. Happy for people to have their cameras off or on, whatever's most comfortable for you. Relaxed session today, so you'll hear from myself, from Jane, and from Negin, who's an artist here. We've got two Auslan interpreters, and we have got captions. So our captions aren't working in Zoom at the moment, but if you check the chat, we've just popped a link in there for the live caption. So you'll just have to have that up on a separate window on your computer. So Mandy, our lovely captioner from the captioning studio, has just popped that link in the chat for everyone. So we'll just wait like maybe a minute more, see if we've got any late participants, and then we'll get started. As I said, very relaxed session today. So you'll hear from me first, and then Jane will talk about the residency. We're going to share some slides. And then at the end, there'll be a Q&A. If you have any questions, please hold it to the end, to the Q&A section. You can either raise your hand in chat in Zoom, which is just if you go to the bottom of your Zoom bar, there's a react and there's a love heart. You click on that and it shows the raise your hand button. So that's how you can do it at the end when we have the Q&A, or you can pop a question in the chat box and we will answer it at the end. We'll try and get to as many as possible, but if you can hold them all till the end, it kind of makes it easier with the flow of conversation. All right, well, I think we've got a lot of people here, 22 participants. That sounds like really good. Also, if you have to duck out at any time, the session is recorded and we will be popping it onto our website about 24 hours, if not before, after the session. So you can always re-watch the recording there and we can have the transcript there as well. So hello everyone. Again, my name is Amy. I'm the Arts Development Manager at Accessible Arts and I run the Bundanon program. I've been working in Accessible Arts for the last couple of years and Bundanon is one of my favourite programs. So before I begin, I would just like to also acknowledge that Accessible Arts works on the lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to any First Nations people joining us today for the session. Always was, always will be. So Bundanon. Accessible Arts has been running this program with Bundanon, I think, goes back 6 or 7 years now, and it is a residency program in Bundanon. So I'll let Jane kind of talk more about the beautiful location and how to get there and what the residency spaces look like. But basically, I will kind of go through the application form and how to apply, when to apply by, and if you've got any questions, where to go. So I'm going to share my screen because I have a little cutie presentation. All right, can everyone see that on the screen? Jane, just give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Great. So yeah, as I said, the Bundanon residency program has been running for a couple of years now, and we are able to facilitate this residency program with 5 artists each year in the Bundanon residency accommodation. So it's out in the bush, it's really lush. This is Sam McPherson, one of our artists from last year, who was a photographer and visual artist. And this is out exploring the beautiful nature. What was it gonna, am I gonna There we go. So the Bundanon Residency is open to visual artists, writers, theatre makers, dancers, yeah, musicians. There's a musicians cottage as well. So some of our artists last year, we had two writers and three visual artists, but we've had lots of different configurations of artists beforehand. So there's studio spaces as well, which is really great. And yeah, this is our cohort from last year. Um, this is Maddie. Maddie made lovely installation performance pieces. So this is Maddie covering one of the trees in the courtyard. Um, and then I'll keep going through. We've got Carly. Carly was a visual artist as well. Jane will talk a little bit more about kind of what the studio spaces are like and what you can do with the studio spaces. We had Gemma in 2024, who was a writer. So her space looks a little bit different from the other artists' spaces. And then, yeah, Sam and photography last year. And Sam actually went on to have an exhibition up in the Northern Rivers in New South Wales. So that was really cool from their Bundanon residency. So the residency is able to facilitate support workers and a lot of different access needs. And this is why I say it is one of my favourite programs, because I think it's one of the most accessible programs that we run, because we're able to, yeah, support wide range of access needs. We're also open to artists from New South Wales and the ACT to apply. So I should highlight that, because we are Accessible Arts, the peak body for arts and disability in New South Wales, but we sometimes extend that love to Canberra, which is really great because I'm originally from Canberra. I'll stop rambling now. So the application is up on our website right now, so you can apply. I'm going to stop sharing and bring up the application form so we can kind of go through that. Where is it? Is it? One second, everyone. No, it's not there. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Basically, the application form is really, really simple. There's a couple of questions, and I think one of the questions that really trips people up, which I wanted to go through, so I'll just get that question up. And I get a lot of questions about this. But basically, the application form is really simple. There is a SurveyMonkey link on our website, or you can submit there is also a Word doc. So you can submit that application via our info mail. All the information should be up on our webpage. And then also you can contact us via the Info Arts or our phone number, which is on the Accessible Arts website. You just go into the contact tab and scroll down. But I think within the application form, there are a few kind of tricky questions. And this one, as I said, I'll just get it up, trips up people all the time. Now, you still have a month left to apply, which is really exciting. Nothing is working for me right now, so this is really fun. Okay, so this is the question that really trips people up, which is, how will you contribute to the formation of an artistic community at Bundanon? Now, what we mean by that question, and that's number 9 in the application form, question number 9. What we mean by that is, how are you going to form a community while you're there with your fellow artists? So it is a week. There is 5 artists altogether. And I want to share what some of the artists did last year, which I think was really beautiful. They actually did a little salon night at the end of the residency. So they got some wine, they set up their studio spaces, and they all went between each other's studios and had a little like presentation, a little critique session of the artwork that they made at Bundanon. So when we say, how are you going to contribute to the formation of an artistic community at Bundanon, they're the types of things that we like to hear about. We've had artists say, oh, I want to do morning yoga sessions with everyone. Or Nishin, I remember you saying you love to cook for people. So that's a way that you can kind of form those beautiful, like artistic communities. We love Bundanon because all the relationships that you form there, we hope, continue after the residency, after that week-long residency. So yeah, that's one of the questions in the application form that I think trips people up. But yeah, I think if you have trouble with it, just get in touch. I'm happy to talk through any questions. Um, some of the other questions are professional development goals. This can be dot points, but this can be small things. Like if you're a writer, it can be like, oh, I want to work towards a draft, or I want to format kind of the characters within my play. Like I really want to spend time with each of the characters and really map out what their intentions are for the story. If you're a visual artist, it could be like Sam was working towards an exhibition. And so that was kind of they had already planned out and had the exhibition ready to go. But then Sam wanted some time to spend in nature, kind of documenting and finalizing what that final project looked like. So, in terms of professional development goals, they can be kind of bigger goals, like I'm working towards finishing, I don't know, a draft script to send to my editor, or it can be more like I need time away from the busyness of life and I just want to be in the bush and I want to like make art. That can be a goal. That is a professional development goal. So like don't think that there has to be really concrete outcomes in terms of that. And then one of the other questions I wanted to highlight is question 5, which is please detail any access supports. This is to help us put you in the right accommodation. So as much detail as you can give there as possible is really, really great because it is a bit of a puzzle trying to get everyone into the right accommodation that supports their access needs. So that's what we say about being as detailed as possible. I am also, again, going to say that I'm here at any time if you want to call up and talk about things like that instead of writing it in the application form. I'm very okay with that as well. So that's kind of the application form. I'm going to hand over to Jane in just a second. But yeah, there's still about a month left to apply, which is really exciting. So take your time. Let me know if you have any questions. We do also accept applications in other formats. So if you'd like to do a video, that's also fine. Just get in touch with us ahead of time and let me know about that submission so I keep an eye out because when it comes through our info mail, I just keep an eye out on those extra ones as opposed to our SurveyMonkey. So there's lots of different ways that you can apply. I think that's enough for me. We can circle back in Q&A if it's a bit info dumpy, which I know I can get. But I wanted to hand it over to the lovely Jane from Bundanon, who's going to talk about the beautiful space.
Thanks, Amy. Before I get started, I don't know if you've noticed there's some people in the waiting room. Are you seeing that? Or can you see, sorry to digress.
Yeah.
You've got that? Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. I wasn't sure who was managing that. Sorry about that.
No, that's good.
Hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here today. I've been working at the beautiful Bundanon only for about 7 months now. So I'm beyond thrilled to be working with Accessible Arts on this partnership. I did work for Accessible Arts quite a long time ago. So I feel I used to be be the education manager there. So it feels really lovely to sort of circle back and be here now working with Amy and Accessible Arts on this fabulous program. I'm going to share my screen now because I do have a slideshow. So bear with me. Just get that happening. Is that sharing now?
No, Jen, that's not sharing.
No, what can you see?
Just everyone's still on screen.
Oh, that's very strange. I will try again. Uh-huh. Share. We did
There we
practice
go.
this.
Yeah,
We did
now
practice
working.
this, everyone.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it, would you? Now can you see it?
Yeah, all good.
Fabulous. So as I said, my name's Jane Pollard and I manage the Artists in Residency program. I feel very privileged to do so. Before I get into my presentation, though, I would like to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from the land of the Darul and Durga language groups, who are the traditional owners of the beautiful land that I'm sitting on. I get to work on all week. And Bundanon, we do recognise a continuous connection to culture, community, and country. And I pay my respects to elders, past and present, and to any First Nations people who have joined us today. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. So, my job today is to talk to you about our place and our program. As Amy said, you've got the opportunity to apply for your 2026 program, which is happening in September, I believe. So a little bit of a history. So as you know, the Boyd family, this was their home after, of course, it was our First Nations people's place first. But the Boyd family lived here for quite a long time and used it as their home and their place to make art. And Arthur Boyd gave this place to the people. And it's in his legacy that we are gifted with the opportunity to share this place with other artists. And it's a place for you to come and make art. This slide is really more generally about our program, but it does relate to the time you're in residence as well. We are one of the largest residency programs. It was formalised in 1997 through Arthur and his wife Yvonne Boyd's generosity, and the whole Boyd family were artists, particularly a lot of the women. And we did have a Boyd Women's exhibition recently, so it was great to see the women celebrated. We do welcome between 200 to 300 artists, and that includes our wonderful artists that come through this partnership. I won't read all of this, but I think, as Amy said, the most important thing for us is it doesn't have to be outcome driven. It really is a time for you as an artist to enjoy the place and to think about your work. The location is incredible, and I think it does inspire great creative outcomes. We're located on a 1,000 hectare property in the Shoalhaven. And with the road improvements, it is about a 2 hour 20 drive now because they've bypassed Berry, or there is a train down to Bomaderry. But to get into the residency site, it is down a 9-kilometre dirt road. And I do believe Accessible Arts assist with some of the transport. Is that correct, Amy? Do you work together with the artists on transport? Oh, I'm not sure if Amy can hear me. Oh, I don't think she can hear me, but we'll come back to that. The site, it's beautiful landscape, and if any of you have looked at any of Arthur Boyd's works, you'll see that they're represented in a lot of his works as well. There's a beautiful river, there's places to walk, It's a place to enjoy nature. There's a lot of wildlife. We have lots of kangaroos and wombats. So it really is a time, if you do live in the city, to get out of the city and stop and slow down and reflect. This is a map showing you the site. So it's a very unique site. The homestead property is separate to the art museum site, and it was a working farm. It's repurposed. So the buildings that you'll be staying in, if you're lucky enough to come, range from historic cottages. So the writer's cottage and the musician's cottage are both historic cottages, and then you'll see in the centre there's a communal area where there's 4 visual art studios. But I'll go in more depth now about each of the apartments and studios. The first image you're seeing is, we're very proud to have this image here because we have done some accessibility upgrades to the site. Being an ex-working farm and being quite remote, there are still some limitations to the physical access, but we are working really hard and we're very committed to improving access at all levels. So this image is showing you, to the left of this, there is an accessible car park, and these ramps meet that. So for a wheelchair user, that you can access the Fern apartment, which is the first apartment you see there, and the communal quadrangle area where there's a communal barbecue and where artists tend to gather and chat and perhaps do an artist salon, as Amy suggested. So the 2 apartments that you reach firstly are the Fern apartment and the Friedman apartment. They have a bedroom each, their own bathroom and laundry, but a shared kitchen. The Fern apartment is accessible, but I will note that to get into the door, it is via a threshold ramp into that apartment, and there is an accessible bathroom. At the minute, though, it's not accessible onto the balcony off the back studio, but the apartment, bathroom and studios are accessible, and kitchen. But you do share the kitchen with your fellow artist who's in the Friedman apartment. And off the back of each of these apartments, you each have your own independent studio. Beautiful space. And there's an artist there. Oh, is that the art? That's our guest artist. That's you working. How about that? So that looks like it's in either the Fern or the Friedman studio, and it's beautiful, natural light, and you look up across or up the hill, and you can view the kangaroos and the wombats. But it's designed for some, dirty work, and there's a sink in there. It's a visual art space. And this is a map for you. And we've also got dimensions there. So, and I think between Amy and myself, if you do need any further measurements around accessibility, particularly if you are a wheelchair user, please reach out. And between Amy and myself, we will give you as much information as we can to ensure that we can make it a comfortable time. Did you want to add something, Amy?
No, there's just more information. I've just popped it in the chat, the how to apply link. So there is some information on the
Sure.
website that we've included. But yeah, as Jane said, any kind of access things that you're unsure of before applying, please just reach out. We're very happy to talk things through or give you more information.
And Amy, if you don't mind clarifying, do accessible arts assist the artist to get to site? I was just not sure on that.
No.
Okay.
So it is a remote location. It is, Jane said, separate from the museum site. It's like a 20-minute drive. Is that right, Jane?
Yep.
Yeah. And it is a unsealed road. So that's why we do recommend, if you are successful getting in, there is a window of time that we recommend arriving just for your safety because the road is unsealed and it is quite far away.
Right. So that's good to know, Amy, because I wasn't sure of access. Because apologies, all I've only been in the role for 7 months, But that, yes, if you're traveling independently, and I didn't go that deep, but Amy is exactly right. We do request people to arrive between 2 and 4, particularly when it's not daylight savings, because it is there's a lot of wildlife, there's potholes. So, and look, it's really advisable for people to have their own vehicle if that is possible, or to have someone with a vehicle accompany you. And I guess that's another thing that Amy and I can support, talk through with you. There is scope with notice and preparation for support people to attend. So once you apply, and if you are successful, then we can go deeper, Amy, on those nuanced
Yeah,
access requirements. So we do work our hardest to make it possible for you to attend and have a comfortable stay. There's also the Gonski and Sherman apartment, which are across from Vernon Friedman, and that's another shot of the communal area, which, as you can see, is accessible. But look, they're really comfortable apartments. And the Gonski is a 1 bedroom and the Sherman is a 2 bedroom. So there's a great example where we could cater for a support person if indeed that was required in that kind of arrangement. So attached to those 2 apartments are the barn studios, and they're historic converted barns. They're quite beautiful. Again, they're designed for a bit of dirty work. If that's what your work is, there's sinks. You can tape things up on the wall. You can make it your place whilst you're there. They are joined though, so they're probably more conducive to less noisy work because there's only a thin partition between those studios. But I find that artists are pretty agreeable and pretty good at getting along, and people, if there is, I've got 2 artists in there at the moment, and look, they're very keen to work together and talk together if there ever was a need to make a bit more noise. But it's all about being, I guess, aware of each other. But again, there's ease in all 4 of these studios. There's easels. We have 2 manual printing presses you can utilise. We have whiteboards. We have extra trestle tables. So you can request extra equipment. As I've already mentioned, we have the 2 separate cottages. We have the musician's cottage, which is up the hill a little bit, and the writer's cottage. So the musician's cottage has 3 bedrooms plus a studio. So it works, I guess, if there's a band or a group of musicians working together. We would never put 2 separate musicians in there. We always only, if you are a solo musician, you would get that cottage to yourself. And the same with the writer's cottage. And again, the writer's cottage is a little bit separate because it just lends itself to that quiet time to write. And then we have the Dorothy Porter studio, which is a rehearsal space, and it has a sprung dance floor, which is fabulous. And we have a silversmith studio, which is set up for you, very well set up studio there. On our website, I guess when it gets to the stage of applying, we also have equipment lists available. So when you're successful, we can get to that detail. And as Amy said, this slide really just shows you the range of art forms that we welcome, and I'm sure that Accessible Arts welcome. It's all art forms, any stage of your career. Really, I guess for you through your application is to tell your story about your practice and what you'll do with your time. I should also mention that I'm sure some of you may have noticed that we've actually got our 2027 residency application open at the minute. It's available on our website, so it's separate to this. You're obviously very welcome to apply for that as well outside of this, but that's for 27. And we also do have an Artist with Disability Fellowship opportunity as well. But it's important to note that if you were successful and came into residence in 26, we're trying to share the love because our program is so popular. You can't come into residence if you've been in the last 5 years. But just that's just a little add-on to let you know that our 2027 applications are available. And that's it from me. And I can see it's 1:30, and I will
Oh,
stop
everyone's
sharing.
on time today. I love it.
Yeah, I
I
will
should.
stop sharing because I think there'll be an opportunity at the end of the session if anyone has any questions for me. So I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, I should also say before Najin is going to speak about their time in 2024 that there is a bursary also to support. So the residency is free, so the accommodation is free and covered by Accessible Arts and Bundanon. And then there is a small bursary to help you cover things like groceries and some art supplies that you might need to take down. So we recommend taking down a week's worth of food because the shops is quite a drive away. There is a beautiful cafe at the museum site. So, if you need a little coffee pick me up and you forgot your coffee. But as I said, that's about a 20-minute drive away. So, yeah, that's why we provide a bursary. But now I want to invite the lovely Najin to share about their time. I'm going to share the screen again to show you some images of Najin on their residency. Oh,
Hi, everyone. I don't know if you can see me. I'm so sorry. It's pretty dark here, only because it's probably the only section of the house that's not covered in renovations at the moment. So I apologize that you can't see me very well. Thank you so much for allowing me to have a chat to you about my stay at Bundanon. I have to say it was one of the most significant and also a healing journey for me that started a while ago, and it really allowed me to just basically just close all the day-to-day life. I'm a mum of three, and I was a mum of two, but now I'm a mum of three. So just being able to shut everything and just concentrate purely on my practice. This space is definitely one to really get yourself grounded and enhance your practice, and also be able to collaborate with other artists as well. When I was accepted, I have to say I did message to double check to see if I did actually get accepted.
forgot you did that. That was the cutest. You did. You were like, Amy, is this real?
I yeah, so before I came, I wasn't too confident in myself and in my artworks. And when I came to this space, I just allowed myself to really absorb the nature and absorb just as simple things as digging my artworks and my paper under the ground. I, of course, asked Amy's permission to see where I can actually do that without interrupting the space and the sacred side of it. So I was able to dig my papers underneath the ground and kind of allow it to, create these beautiful patterns naturally without me actually having to, have the typical pen on paper. And the space itself, it really allows you to just rethink your work and gives you the opportunity to see where you can twig, parts of it and where you need to work on it. But because it is such a quiet and just a harmonious space, it really gives you time to think about where you want to go with your practice and how and what you want to try to achieve with it. A lot of my works are based on my journey from Iran as a refugee. So, as you can see, there's a lot of dirt and mud and rust, and it was very messy. So the space was perfect for that. I remember at one stage, the other artists would come into the space, and we quite often did that. We would go and visit each other and have a chat and see where they are and how they're going. And it was almost like we instantly became a family. And they gave us opportunity to kind of just sit and, have quiet conversations and deep conversations, which is something that you can't generally do at times because you're just so busy. So the space was perfect for that. And like, as you can see, it was just dirt and mud and rust and everything everywhere. I was covered, the floor was covered, the walls were covered. It was just amazing. It just allowed me to really let loose in my practice, um and I really had the one of the greatest things that I achieved there wasn't just about the practice itself, but it was the art community that we did together. And as Amy was mentioning about the community project, I've got a community project called the Letters of Love Project, and I actually did that with the residents over there, where they would have a little postcard and they write a letter to their younger selves, and we create a little artwork at the front. And we had a good 2 hour conversations. Just everyone was just sharing their stories and how they became who they are, and their stories of their life and stories of their practice, and what's been working for them, what hasn't been working for them, what's their goals, their achievements, everything. It was just one of those deep conversations that you don't get to do regularly, but when you do, it gives you such a empowerment and allows you to really expand your knowledge, not in your own practice, but also learning of the other members that are there. Yeah, it was just, oh, that's the girls. It was just one of those beautiful moments. Like if I can go back, I would relive that 100 times over. It was such a beautiful experience. It was one of me and a few of the artists made a day where we just, half a day to just go and explore around the space. And we were lucky enough to see some beautiful spaces that are only allowed for women, I believe. Um, and it was just, you just can't help but tear up and just really count your blessings to be given this opportunity to be there. Um, it was just, it was amazing. It was a beautiful opportunity, and we built some beautiful friendships. And yeah, and the practice is something that you will always take with you, this absolute beautiful journey.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was so beautiful. I'm like tearing up. This is why it's my favorite program, everyone. Um, so I guess now would be a good time to, if you want, raise your hand or pop a question in the chat. Yeah, let's open it up to the floor. So me, Jane, and Najin, happy to answer any questions. Um, Also, I love wildlife, so there's a lot of wildlife out there if you like
Mm.
wombats. Amanda, I will go to you if you want to unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi, Amy. Hi, everybody else who's out there. Look, I was just wondering, I noted that you've got the Sharman or Sherman apartment, and it's got 2 bedrooms in it. Could do you ever have people apply because they want to work with somebody else as well? And it would be the two of us working together on something. Um, is that possible to do that? Or does it have to be an individual application for an individual artist?
So I'm open to everything, as long as there's room and accommodation. We have had a musician before. Um, they didn't have their band stay, but their band came every day to practice with them in the musician's cottage. But they stayed off-site. I think, um, yeah, it's dependent on your practice, but I would follow that up with me and Jane, and we can have a chat about it. But really, it is for the individual artist, but we're very open to having collaborators come in for the day if you want. It is just kind of a OH&S thing about who's there at night. So we would not want anyone to stay at the residency space unless we had kind of known about it in advance. Is that correct, Jane?
I get that. The person that this idea also has a disability as well and is an artist, an emerging artist. And I just thought that maybe we could work together on something.
So, Amanda, I think what you're saying is you would apply as a partnership to collaborate on something. Is that yeah? And look, I will need to just triple check with Amy here about the scope of Amy's application process. In our other 2027 program, we do accept applications from collaborations and groups, but because this is a partnership, it's just a little bit different. And I think it's that we've got. At the moment, it is for individual artists, I believe. So Amy and I will have to get back to you on that. I'm pretty sure that we've sort of made the accessible arts partnership one for individuals. However, our more broader one is open to collaboration. Yes. Does that make sense?
Thanks for clear. Yes, no, that's perfect. Absolutely. So thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, quiet.
Hi, this is Imogen. I'm not on video.
Imogen.
Sorry, I couldn't raise my hand. Hi, Amy. Thanks for the session. I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just attending in relation to artists I'm working with who might be interested in applying. In the situation where the artist might be a First Nations artist who would like to be able to have some kind of cultural grounding on the country that they would be coming to if they were successful, is that a process that you have something set up around? Do you have relationships with local elders or cultural custodians that might be able to engage with a First Nations artist in that way?
Yeah, so in 2023, we had a First Nations artist apply, and Bundanon organised a welcome for them by the local custodians. I believe it was an ochre ceremony because we couldn't have fire at the site, and then we organised, because they were doing a project on possum skin coats, we organised for them to have a private viewing of part of the Bundanon collection at the museum site as well. So, yeah, a lot is possible, but I'll let Jane also reply.
Thanks, Amy. And look, Amy's absolutely correct. Whenever we have a First Nations artist come into residence, whether it's through this partnership or any other as an individual artist, we always do a welcome. And we have been doing smoking as well, smoking ceremonies. We do have a First Nations cultural liaison manager on staff, Jerome. So he is available, but there's a process behind that capacity to connect. So I think if there's a First Nations artist who is successful, then we can talk through what's possible. We're a pretty lean machine out here. And we do, we can send information around, we can give out local contacts. There is protocol around ISIP, obviously, of course, if you're working in that space, but we certainly do endeavour to connect any First Nations artists with our local custodians within our capacity at the time.
And I will also say to that, I think Negin mentioned this in their kind of speech, that if you are going to take anything, or if you are doing a process that's grounded on country and you are not First Nations, just let us know in advance, and Jane will let you know about local protocols that we need to just check with the local custodians or anything like that. So Najim was like, I'm going to be burying some of my work in the ground. And, that's the process that happens. So once you are successful, there is a couple of months where we talk through access, we talk through what you're going to be making on the site. We have a little informal get together before on Zoom before you come to the site so you
Mhm.
can familiarize yourself. And Jane will be at that session as well to let you know about, what's available in terms of art supplies and also, protocols in case there's a bushfire
That,
or in case
yeah.
you want to do some kind of making on site on country. So yeah, that's
But
very
Amy, I think the main thing to remember is, well, we don't offer materials, so that's a good thing to remember. We've got equipment, but not baseline
oh yeah.
materials. But in that's a great reminder. It's all about lead time because, for example, if you want to access our collection, I mean, we do have a collections manager. However, she's really busy, so it's all about lead time and so it's a bit hard if someone sort of gets to site and goes, oh, I'd love to do this. That's when it gets tricky for us to organise things on the run. So just be organised, be prepared and give us the heads up. Yep.
We'll go to Michelle next. Michelle, do you want to ask a question?
Oh, yes, thanks so much for this session. I'm an anxious Virgo anal retentive editor, and I probably won't be able to get an application in for this year, given thinking about forward planning as well. Will it be available in 2027?
Yes, our partnership
Yes.
is not stopping with Bundanon. We love this program. So yes, it will be available. But also check out the other Bundanon 2027 application as well. And Jane,
Okay.
can you put that in the chat? Can you
I
see
can put
that?
our web link. Yes, I
Yes.
will do that. It is closing on the 1st of June, so Michelle, it is approaching. But
Yeah, again,
I'll find the link now and pop it in the chat. So yeah, please do have a look at that.
But yes,
thank
Bundanon
you.
2027 with Accessible Arts will happen as well. And we usually
Absolutely.
have a 2-month period for the applications. Eleanor, do you want to ask your question?
Yes. Hello. I had a question about accessing the um the bushland on the property. Are there like lots of walks through the 1,000 hectares and those sorts of things?
Yes, would you like me to take that, Amy?
Yeah. Yes.
It's a fabulous question, and I find the artists do a lot of walking. We have 2 walking maps. There's one just for the residency site, so there's some lovely walks there, including a walk down to what we call the beach, which is by the river. I can see Negin nodding. I'm sure you did
Yeah.
some of the walks. There's a walk
Yes.
up the hill to the amphitheatre. I know our current artists, they're all out walking together and on place, and a lot of them are really inspired by the river. 2 artists in particular are talking a lot about the river. We have an artist who's being influenced by the wombats. And we also have some tracks on the art museum side as well. And there's a brand new walking map that's just been published. So when you come on, if you're successful, I run you through an induction process and take you through all of that again when you're on site. But keeping in mind around, some the accessibility, because some of the tracks, they're not fully accessible tracks. They are, the terrain is rough. So just keep that in mind as well, that there's limited accessibility on the bush track. It's the nature of the site.
Okay.
I do want
Excellent.
to
Thank you.
add one more thing is if you are going to do these amazing tracks, which I highly recommend everyone that is able to do, is to take a little notebook and pencil with you because you are just going to be absorbed with so much inspiration, jotting these ideas down, drawing, and just listening to the birds. I think at one point I just couldn't, I spent like, I think 2.5 hours. I think it's called the amphitheater. I'm not even 100%
Yes,
sure.
yes,
It
it
is,
is the
right? Yeah.
amphitheatre.
And it was just absolutely beautiful. The sound of the birds, it's just a beautiful space. And take a little journal with you, write, draw, just sit in stillness. That is the amazing place to do that. Definitely take something with you though.
I will add Jane, in terms of like Wi-Fi and stuff. So if people are going on the walks, like I know you say you've got the walking tracks, but there isn't great
No.
reception there.
And look, we do encourage artists, and this is part of the induction as well, that to take special care. We always suggest that you leave a note or tell other artists where you're going, time that you left, because the reception is not great. There's good Wi-Fi around the studios, and you can make calls over the Wi-Fi. There are landlines in all of the apartments and studios. But you're exactly right, Amy. You do, walk with someone else, leave a note of time and which track you've gone on. It's like, I guess, when you go walking, anywhere else. But yeah, we do have some procedures in place to make sure that people are safe.
Yeah. And we've just had a question in the chat. So Osha is just saying, wondering how long the residency in 2026 is. So it's for a week. So it's from Monday, the 21st of September till Sunday, the 27th of September. And the applications close at 11:30 p.m. on Sunday, the 7th of June. So that's why I say you've got still a little over a month to get that application into us. Any other
Oh, and Amy, it's
yeah.
just there's a question, the extension there of the question, and when does it open and close for 2027? So I guess, does that mean, yes, so for the accessible arts, I guess it'll be similar timing to now, but for the Bundanon more general one, we've got it open now and closing on the 1st of June, if that was indeed the question from Eleanor. Oh, sorry, Osha.
Yeah, so last year, I think the residency took place in October, and this year is September. So it's usually around those spring months that but yeah, try and work it out with Bundanon. But that's a conversation for me and Jane to work out timelines. So we probably won't have that up until early next year, but it'll be, usually around those spring months, because that's also an accessibility thing about the weather at Bundanon. So yeah, it can get quite hot in the summertime. There's another question. Oh, thank you so much. Great. Love that we've answered that. Just lastly, I think it'd be great to kind of like wrap it up in the last 5 minutes. Negin, do you have any final thoughts about the residency program? Like what was the one thing that you love most about it? I don't know. That's a big question, isn't it?
That's a really hard question. Look, I think one of the things that I loved was that moment where I was absolutely just sitting in stillness. Like I said, it's been a healing journey for me, and this really helped me navigate through a lot of emotions and how I can actually get my emotions through my art practice. And I think that is probably one of the significant things that I took away from the experience, because it's not something that you can get day to day. It is the space, it is the people around the space, the community that you build, and the partnership that you make. I think it's important that, you have the conversations with your neighbor and get to know them. And it's just a lot of everything. Definitely apply for it. And it's hard to explain. You need to go there and you need to see what it's like. It's a beautiful space. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
And I'll finish on that. Why this is one of my favorite programs is I do the programming at Accessible Arts. So I say I have the coolest job in the org. I get to work with all the artists. And I recognize that artists with disabilities face many, many a barrier, and residencies is one that is a barrier because they generally are in historic sites which aren't accessible. So to be able to partner with Bundanon on this program and really have a genuine, awesome partnership, that Bundanon has done a lot of work in the accessibility space, so they're one of my favorite orgs to work with, is just really refreshing. And so that's why it's my favorite program, because I'm like, here is a wonderful, accessible program that can support artists with high access needs. So yeah, Jane, what final thoughts from you?
I think I'll just follow on from that. I love working with the artists. And honestly, we are on a mission to make our place more accessible. And, you know, we're still learning. We're trying our hardest. So, you know, without burdening you, we do learn every time we have artists in residence. In you know, we're on a journey to really, you know, it's not perfect, but I believe we're getting there. So look, I think it's a fabulous partnership, and I really, really hope all of you apply. And yeah, and we'll be working with some of you, no doubt, in September. Yeah.
I would like to thank our Auslan interpreters for joining us today and our captioning team. And thank you to the lovely Jane and Negin for giving us your time and expertise. As I said, lastly, oh, clapping. That's clapping, Eleanor. Great. I was like, got a question. If you do have any questions, reach out now. Go to the Accessible Arts contact page and it'll have the Info Arts email. Reach out early with your questions because, as I said, there's less than a month to apply. But if you do have any tricky questions, like ask early so I can get back to you and you can do the best application possible. But yeah, I hope everyone applies. And thank you all for joining us. I think that's
Bye,
it.
everyone.
Yeah.
Bye,
Good luck with
everyone.
your applications, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you.
Thank you.